Yeah, I started with this plastic printer, and he found it a little bit annoying that it took such a long time for something to be finished and to see what you have designed, and also the waste that is involved. Anytime it doesn't work, you cannot easily reuse the plastic. In the same time, I was looking for a potter's wheel because I wanted to use it for some ideas I had, but yeah, due to lack of space, we thought, why not combine these two interests and build this. And well, actually Yao did the building part. He has the technical skills, and yeah, since then we have been experimenting with also the material clay. Before it was, well, of course we knew what clay was, but we hadn't worked with it as such. So it's yeah, experimenting as we go, and also trying to find new shapes that cannot be made with a potter's wheel or by casting.
It didn't take a long time to actually build, to design and build the printer. A lot can be found on the internet. Most parts are just readily available, and it was basically the shift from plastic to a heavy, sort of rough material that had the largest impact on the design of the printer.
Okay.
And for that reason, the printer needs to be rough, strong. It should be able to handle a lot of dust and dirt to be able to work with clay. And well, then immediately you get to plywood and aluminium, which are two things that can withstand water quite a bit. And it took only about 2 or 3 weeks for the design, the basic design of the printer. And then it took about 2 weeks for all the stuff to arrive. And then 1 week of assembly. And then we immediately started. We just connected the clay, and we started printing. And that was sort of an eye-opener for us too, that with this new sort of technology, which is actually very old, it's already 30 years around us, anyone can quickly sort of come to results that are not seen before.
There's a lot of possibilities, and yeah, many different backgrounds can use this technology, apply it to their own interests. We are able to add a glaze before we print.
To explain the normal process is that you have clay, you shape it in whatever shape you have, you let it dry, and then you sort of refine it with a wet sponge or with sanding paper or whatever, and then you either dip it in clay or you dip it in glaze, or you spray glaze around it, and you have your final product once it's fired. We had the question, can we do that final glazing and our clay based material at once? And that was a strange question, because clay can be very hazardous. It's not very healthy. The glaze can be hazardous. It's not healthy. It's better not to have it too much around. The dust, if you inhale it, it's bad for your lungs. So the question we asked, can we mix those together, and what is the perfect mix? There was no answer. So we had a lot of experiments.
Trials and errors.
Yes. One of the early experiments is this. Yeah. It looked quite well, and there's we added some chemicals to the clay, printed immediately, and it came out like this, which is totally weird for us, because normally we have this layered structure on it, and this is a weird thing. It's not good because there's cracks and there's things happening. The chemical process is still ongoing, but this was one of the first tests we made, and after this one there were about 40 others, and then eventually we ended up with something with this thing, which is sort of the perfect mix between clay and glazes, and this is something that excels the process of between design and your final product, because you lose a whole step of the glazing part, which it goes directly in the oven, and you have your final product.
Which makes it possible to glaze more difficult structures with dipping or spraying. You cannot always enter. Yeah, it's difficult.
But the thing is that
with
3D printing, your products have internal structures. Yeah. You can make very intricate internal systems, which before with clay were unthinkable. We keep in touch. We know what everybody is doing, and we are both. Our background is product design, so our angle is more into what can we do with it, what can we make with it, and there's like Jonathan Keep. He's an artist working with it, and his angle is more like is from an artistic background. So what is the process of what I'm doing? He's more interested in that. The output needs to be really nice. So our attention is more onto how can we really get this technique, control the technique, to give it the output we like.
I want to add that I also like the parts that you can't control. He likes to be able to make a perfect print. I also like the faults to happen, because they give me new ideas, like the knitting one happened when we try to see how far we can make like an arch go. It collapsed, it turned into kind of like spaghetti. And I liked the spaghetti. I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to do something with it. So then I came up with this one. And I also still like the fact that I'm really working with my hands. I prepare the clay. We finish it after it has been printed. Even while printing, the glazing, firing, everything. So it's still very much a craft. It's not just for a person who only works with tech. How do you call it?
Technology.
Technology. Yeah. It's very much a combination of creativity and technology.
A lot of people think, oh, now there goes the craft of the pottery craft. We can ditch it. There's digital craft now. One of the first things we say is that yes, this is a whole new step in pottery, but there's it could also mean that the craft of pottery can evolve alongside. And one of the first things we discovered is with the power of computers nowadays, it's easy to quickly scan, for example, as an example, to scan someone's top of the body, his head, slightly alter it in the computer, either shrink it, enlarge it, or whatever you want to do with it, and then print it. The thing is that it will be a dead face. You need an artist's touch to actually make a duplicate into a live person. But it took only about half an hour to finish it up. So for an untrained person to achieve this result is quite remarkable.
Well, an artist who is already making things like this will keep doing it like that, because it's their trade, it's their craft, it's the way they do it. But for someone who is untrained, yes, this can be a way to make something like this. Most artists who are already doing this will not change it, But yes, in schools, for instance, or people who are just starting with it, they might feel it like then it's the step is a bit less difficult to in one go make this. Start with the base and then first work with the base that a 3D printer can give you. Yeah.